welcome to Conscious Curiosities, where we unlock the wisdom of the universe which lies within us. I'm Maria Luz, your host, an astrologer, hypnotist, and psychic medium. Today I'm going to continue talking about the energy of 2026. And this is the fifth installment, and I think the last. And I do apologize, but when I went to load the episode last week, I realized I forgot to release the very first episode, which was at the beginning of January. So if you missed that, go back and you can listen to it now. And where I left off last week was with Uranus moving into Gemini. And I was expecting to talk about Leo energy last week, but then when I was looking at my sheet of the key events, I realized I had skipped over Uranus. So, Uranus, as the reputation goes, is a great disruptor and can liberate you from your own comfort where it is in your best interest. And so, I'm actually grateful that Uranus did that because it gave me some time to consider Leo with its polarity Aquarius. And the reason why this is all related and coming up, not only with the energy of 2026, but actually this weekend on Sunday, is because there will be a full moon in Leo. And that means when it's a full moon, obviously it's opposite the sun. So the sun will be in Aquarius. And the sun is what in ancient or Hellenistic astrology in Aquarius is in what's called its detriment. So it kind of doesn't have authority there. It has to kind of play by the rules of the owner of that sign. And so the sun is naturally ruled by Leo, but in its polarity in Aquarius, it's playing by the rules of in ancient astrology, Saturn, or with more modern perspective, Uranus. And so we're already starting to see the prominence of the theme of this entire polarity of Leo and Aquarius. And it will continue because 2 weeks after this full moon on Sunday, we have a solar eclipse at 28 degrees Aquarius, and that's on February 17th. And then when we start moving into the summer, the very end of June, Jupiter enters Leo. It's been in Cancer for about a year. And we also have the lunar nodes changing signs to Aquarius and Leo at the end of July. And then we have a solar eclipse in Leo, August 12th. And just a reminder, the solar eclipses are the new moon, and then the lunar eclipses are the full moons. So I'm going to kick off with just a little bit from evolutionary astrology, which is primarily what I'm trained on, and specifically the Jeffrey Wolf Green paradigm, which has a lot of emphasis on Pluto. And so in my training, we were taught that Leo and the sun represent creative self actualization, and that the sun represents the integrative principle and how we go about integrating and self actualizing our purpose. And there's kind of this idea that Leo is intentionally narcissistic because we have to become full of ourselves and realize the power and the possibilities that are contained within self before we can then light up the world with that. Okay, but obviously we can't have a bunch of egomaniacs roaming the planet, although there trying at the moment, but to really integrate it properly and in the means that is helpful for the collective, we have to also embrace the Aquarius side of this polarity. And for Aquarius, in our Jeffrey Wolf Green paradigm, that represents liberation from conditioning patterns. Um, and this would be parental, societal, past life memories. Um, and it represents this subconscious or the individuated unconscious mind. So it's going to have this rebellion against what it's known or what it's been conditioned to believe are the only existing structures. So that would be the limitations of Saturn. But it has to rebel to move evolution forward. So we can see, obviously, this playing out in so many ways on the world stage. And what does it mean for us? So as individuals, because really at the heart of it, this polarity is about the individual and the group. And it's also about healing from trauma in many ways so that you can responsibly project yourself into the world and do that self actualization, that integration that is healthy for the individual and the collective. And so the reason why trauma is involved is with this Aquarius energy, there is this feeling that I don't fit in. I don't fit into my family or my society or my culture. Yet there's also this reward when you continue to go along with the conditioning and when you exhibit behaviors that are rewarded because they are the status quo and they reinforce the control of whoever is in power. And you start to repress everything that you know in your gut or your heart. Those would be more of the Leo that you know is very precious to you, very individual to you. You repress that, and it can often become the shadow, and then that part projects onto others and say makes fun of people for being weird or different um, or wanting different things or a different lifestyle. And so you can see how this whole trauma comes in to both the individual and the collective. However, when it's a healthy expression of Leo and Aquarius, then we have the courage. That's a Leo thing. We have a courage to really be vulnerable because we're going to have to show our true self. We're going to have to live loud and proud, whatever that looks like, and it will rub the authorities the wrong way, and it threatens those authorities and the power structure because we're showing that it's possible to live a different way. And if we are being courageous and vulnerable and authentically ourselves, that is like the sun, and it shines light everywhere that others might be experiencing um, the same wish to liberate in that way from their conditioning. So uh, that's that's a lot for an individual to step away from maybe where they've been rewarded in various ways. However, we have had some, some training with the lunar nodes being on the Virgo and Pisces axis for the past year or so. That's really asked us to examine on, the Virgo, it's examining devotion. Have we been on the Virgo side kind of toiling away? Um, and on the Pisces side, what is the meaning of that? Why are we doing what we're doing on the day-to-day basis? So I think I will leave it with that because I like to keep these kind of short. And I hope I've given you something to think about with the Leo and Aquarius axis, and what we might be seeing or feeling as the year progresses. I also want to let you know about a workshop I'll be teaching through the McAllister Academy. It's going to be on Sunday, February 15th, and it's going to be on the elements and how those are embodied, how to work with them to bring more self awareness. And with that self awareness, be able to care for ourselves and others. And I am really excited about it. I've been putting together the presentation, and I'll put something about that in the show notes and on my Substack. I wish you a wonderful rest of your weekend and week ahead. Thank you so much for listening.